Morning guys, Sunday the 15th of November 2020. So we came in here this morning, had a quick check on the young birds, and I'm pleased to say the tablets appear to have worked with the medication in the water. So although the young birds are still very slightly panting, they are nothing like they were yesterday. Our Frill Stencil was really labouring, and its nestmate was starting the process as well. And as you can see now, it isn't a tenth as bad. So we've just given them another quarter of a tablet down the back of the neck, because we're not certain whether it was canker or not, but the fact that it's worked this quick, I'm going to assume that possibly was just canker. The other bird also is in here, and you can see the actual tail moving up and down on the little Frill Stencil as it's breathing, more so than the nestmate, which means they are still not breathing correctly, but they're a million times better than they were, guys. Sorry, I've lost the focus. There we go. A million times better than they were. So that's good news. Hopefully they're going to pull through now, guys. I've also put them onto a slightly lighter mix as well. And the reason for that is just so that it's a lot smaller, they can get it down easier if they have got a bit of canker in the back of the throat. This will actually help them to get this cone down a little easier. So just little changes like that makes all the difference. And we've just topped up the water drinker again with the medication. And that'll stay in there all week. And by next weekend these birds should be different pigeons altogether. Terribly sorry about the camera work this morning, guys. It's very poor light, and I'm really struggling to get any decent footage. See you later, guys. I just wanted to show you this Andalusian hen here, guys. So this is an F1 pigeon off the white bar Frill Stencil cock last year. And he was paired to an Andalusian hen. Both these hens came off that Andalusian hen. And I just wanted you to have a look at how smart these birds are. So we're still waiting to get any youngsters off her at all. If you remember, the first two didn't survive. So hopefully this second round we're going to get some youngsters out of her. Just thought I'd give you a quick look at her, guys. Morning, guys, in the Polytunnel now. Just a quick update with the latest addition to the plants. So what we've got here now is we've got a little blueberry plant, which I say we're going to keep in a pot. Not that size, obviously. And then we've got another blueberry, which is pink lemonade. It puts out pink berries, although it's a blueberry. It's called pink lemonade, and the other one is just a standard blueberry. We just ordered those last week and they've arrived, so we just brought them here and put them in the Polytunnel. Keep them out of harm's way for now, until we get round to putting them on, guys. See you in a minute. Hi guys, right, so I'm here in the shed now. As you can see, it's bitterly cold. When I came up here this morning, it was absolute stay rods coming down rain wise. It's starting to brighten up a little bit now, but it's been non-stop rain since I came up. And even in the pigeon lofts, just feeding and watering the birds, it was dark. Because of the poor ambient light, I was struggling to get any half decent footage in that pigeon loft. At least that's what I'm blaming. It's not the cameraman. Right, guys, if you're new to my channel, please do think about hitting the subscribe button, and then the little bell icon on the right. That'll alert you every time I put up a new video. Thanks to all the new subscribers that have been subscribing to the channel of late. I do appreciate each and every one of my subscribers. and I appreciate comments in the sections below. Right guys, so yes, I know the video quality hasn't been the same of recent times. Yesterday, by the time I got all the tools put away and come to do the roundup, it was pitch black. So yeah, the final roundup wasn't too clever either. And then this morning we got a bit of out of focus footage with the pigeons in the pigeon loft. So right, good news. Yeah, I'm really delighted at how quickly those tablets have taken effect. Within 12 hours, there is a marked difference in the breathing of that young Frill Stencil. And although it's not 100%, it's only 12 hours down the line, it's a massive, massive improvement, and we know it's going in the right direction. So onwards and upwards, and hopefully we caught it just in time. It's just a shame because I don't know how long it had been like that. It could have been like that for just a couple of days, or it could have just actually developed overnight. I really don't know. There's no way of knowing. As I say, Kenny doesn't know anything at all about pigeons or other than how to feed and water them. And he would be completely oblivious to the fact of that anything. This is where attention to detail when you're keeping animals, of course, is paramount. Most animal keepers can just spot instantly when there's something not quite right with the birds. That one was pretty obvious to me. But you can also pick up subtle differences if there is anything wrong. Like I said, I don't normally suffer from any form of illness, but we do always have the medications on standby, because you never know, guys. It can happen to anyone, and there's proof. The speed of the recovery, or appears to be the speed of the recovery with this, I'm actually going to say this was canker, because historically we've had birds with canker, and young birds are more susceptible to this than the older birds, although old birds can get it as well, but they have a certain level of immunity that keeps it at bay, and they do actually have this in their systems the whole time. And if you stress a bird out, then that's when it sort of flares up. Now, because they've just been taken off the nest and put into a strange quarters, put in with a strange bird, and they had to go through the learning process of learning how to eat and drink, and shorter daylight hours, and the cold, damp, miserable weather that we've had of late. The last 3 weeks has just sort of been more or less non-stop rain. All of that will have played a part in triggering it and bringing it to the surface. But thankfully, I think we've caught it in time now, and a quarter of a tablet yesterday each, and a quarter of a tablet again this morning. That'll keep it at bay and sort it out, the main infection, and then the respiratory treatment that's in the water, which is a sort of a broad spectrum antibiotic, will take care of anything else that's going on in there, if there is anything. But it's looking more and more like that it was canker. And these tablets really are good. They do turn a pigeon round in 24 hours if it's canker. That's pretty much all those tablets are designed for. They will also, to a greater or lesser degree, combat coccidiosis as well. If you get a flare-up of coccidiosis in pigeons, which is usually as a result of being kept in damp areas, but it has a different symptoms where the birds they lose the appetite, or they can't eat. They want to eat, but they just can't eat, and that's a different symptom altogether, and you get very, very runny, watery droppings, etc. Totally different symptoms, but those tablets can actually, they're just standard tablets, metronidazole, they are. And any veterinary practice will be able to prescribe these. They are on prescription. You can't just go and buy them over the counter. But yeah, they are really good tablets, and you do only need, with young birds it's a quarter of a tablet. With older birds you can give them half a tablet once. One day miss a day and another day, and that does them for the year. But to be honest, I've never had to do it. The tablets are there in a sealed container, airtight, on the off chance that they're ever needed, i.e. like now. Anyways, I'm babbling on again, guys. I've just put the kettle on. I'm going to have myself a cup of coffee, and hopefully it's going to stay bright enough, long enough, for me to get that other section done in the 24-foot loft and get all the floor up and get that other section done. That'll be that whole 24-foot race loft, all bottomed out and done for winter, guys. Kettle's just about to boil, so I'll catch you later, guys. Right, guys, we've got this section cleaned out as well, and not a minute too soon. It's absolutely opened up from the higher bins and it's teeming down. I've just got to put the shavings on down now through the grills, and that's just sorted out, guys. So another good jobbed, and it's opened up from the high heavens again, so it's been bouncing off the ground. So we've got the generator and the pressure washer put away just in the nick of time. See you shortly, guys. There we go, guys, all cleaned out again. That'll do us another month or so. We done this one yesterday, this section here, but we ran out of daylight. It's been a pretty drab weekend, and it's been so dark and miserable with the rain that we've had to do it in 2 halves this time. So there's the other section we've just done now. All spick and span again, guys. Let's give you a quick look in the aviary. These birds are looking really nice now, guys. These are the 2 ice project birds. Look at how beautiful they are now that they've got through the molt. Absolutely beautiful. Ice split barless. But you can see the health of these birds now in here, guys. It's just spooking them a little bit with the camera poking out. Right, guys, we're going to let these get back in now. Oh, just for the record, Teresa, that's mystery there. Fully through the molt now. Nothing like it was when it came off the nest. See you later, guys. And yet another quick look at the birds from the outside now, guys. We chased them out into the aviary while we got the loft cleaned out, but you can see the health on these birds. All nicely through the molt now and looking $1 million. And that's mystery. It's almost all white now, so she's turned into a recessive pied. I'm really liking the ice blues split barless. They've really made out nice now, guys. Back in the shed again now, guys. You can probably hear the rain is absolutely hammering down now, and I doubt very much we're going to get anything else done today. I'm going to have this cup of coffee, and then it's absolutely like the entire grass area is like a quagmire out there now. Just walking carefully over the grass, it's so saturated with the amount of rain we've had over the week that it's impossible to make it all bubble up with sludge. It's crazy, it really is crazy, and it's just the way it is, guys. A couple of positive things this weekend. So we've got quite a bit done. We've got the entire 24-foot section of the loft cleaned out. As you can see how cold it is, look at this. With my breath. It's really cold. However, I've tolerated the cold. I don't mind the cold too much. It's the rain that I don't like. So we've got that 24-foot loft entirely bottomed out now, guys. That should do us right up till Christmas or just after, maybe the New Year. In that one particular loft, I've just put the kettle back on again now. I'm going to have a cup of coffee and then debate whether I'm going to go down home or not. It depends on the weather, I suppose. If the weather fares up, I might put the onions in the polytunnel So set some onions and some garlic. I might do that anyway, whether it's raining or not. But I was really wanting to get into another one of the lofts and get all the nest boxes cleaned out. I've got a section there with just 6 fantails in there now, and there was a lad supposed to come and collect those. Those are the ones I want to go. I've picked out the ones I want to keep, just as feeders for those satinets and blondinets, guys. So there's 6 there, but the guy never turned up for them, unfortunately. I told he could have the lot for 20 quid. So, his loss, not mine. But he never turned up for them. So, yeah. I really want that loft emptied so I can get the satinets out of the other loft and get them into this one with proper breeding nest boxes with close fronts off, etc. I really want to get them in there. Well, actually I don't know. I've got this big 20 foot, this 10 foot by 8 foot shed here with the 20 nest boxes in. What I want to try and do for next year is basically condense everything into that one shed as a breeding loft. And then that the cocks that I decide to keep, whether that's a mix of satinets, barless, ice, etc. The ones that I decide to keep will stay in there, and that will just be the breeding loft. And perhaps even the Frill Stencils in here as well, guys, next year, the turn of next year. Once those 2 nests are finished, we'll probably open this shed back up again and we'll start selecting the birds that we're really definitely going to keep and get all the cocks in there to start picking themselves a box out, so they're going to be there and stay with those boxes indefinitely. So that's what I want to do, guys. I still do have a lot of birds I want to go. I want to move on. I still want to bring the numbers down. This is ridiculous, this weather. I still do want to bring the numbers down, but I'm going to wait until they've completely through the molt and re-photograph them again, guys, and put them back on the website. They're looking at $1 million at the moment. And as a result of that, there is actually 1 or 2 that I might keep, i.e. the ice that I was originally going to go. And I put them on the website and they were going to go for a song. However, I've decided I might just keep those now and go back to the barless cock and see if we can get some ice barless. We'll wait and see how that pans out. Or we might put one of them to the barless if we end up with a hen. I don't know what sex they are yet. I think there might be 2 hens actually, but one could be a cock, or I'm not certain. If that turns out to be a cock, it'll go back to the ice hen, and the other ice will go to the barless cock. Just to intensify the ice by putting the ice factor back to the ice again. I know we're going to end up potentially with smaller beaks again and then have to breed it back out again. I haven't made my mind up yet, guys. Right, just a little note on the medication of the pigeons. Before people start, when people see videos around someone medicating the pigeons, they tend to fly off the handle and go out and think, oh, my pigeons have got this and my pigeons have got that, and they haven't. Don't look for things that don't exist. Okay? All the rest of the birds you've just seen on the webcam are all bouncing and full of health and vigour. Those 2 youngsters, it's just the time of the year, the dampness, the shortness in hours, learning to eat, it's the stress of coming off the nest. Now, canker can happen to the parent birds as well. They can actually pass it on to the youngsters. But it's too late now for me to canker the parents with that second nest of youngsters. I'll just have to keep an eye on them. The tablets, metronidazole, are really, really good for canker. But you don't need to go overboard, guys. Like I said, with an adult bird, it's half a tablet one day, miss a day, half a tablet the second day, and that will treat it for the whole year. If you do go down that route, there's no need. A lot of people do canker the birds just before breeding season. And I must admit, I used to do that myself, but I don't anymore. If the birds look healthy and fit, they get put down to breed. And we obviously keep an eye on the birds and see that there is nothing developing. If people want to know a bit more about canker, that may be thinking, well, what is canker? It's like a build-up of yeast. And oftentimes you can tell the bird has got canker because it'll show signs of being out of breath. And if you open the beak up, you can sometimes see deposits of little yellow gunk in the back of the throat, and it's like a build-up of yeast. But if it's left untreated, it can actually build up and build up until it actually suffocates the bird, and it can kill the bird. So it's nothing to be concerned about. It does happen occasionally, but if you got your wits about you and you look your stock over as you should do every time you visit them, it will become obvious, and you will just pick out instantly a pigeon that just doesn't quite look right, like you can with, you know, your dog's not feeling well, and it's off its food, or it's got diarrhea, or it's just laying in its bed all day long and not its usual self. These little things is for the fancier, for an animal lover to pick up on. They've got a quarter of a tablet because they're young birds. The way I do it, there isn't any guidance notes from the veterinary. The way I do it is I give a quarter of a tablet for a young bird that's only just sort of weaned off. And that should, if it's canker, you'll see an improvement the next day. If it's not canker, you probably won't see any improvement, and those tablets won't do it any good. If you see improvements, give them another quarter of a tablet the very next day, because that was quite severe. So they've got one, we didn't miss a day, we just went straight in with another quarter of a tablet. But they won't get any more, because they now have, the tablet will do the main job it's meant to do, and that's break down the canker gunge that's stuck in the back of the throat, and it'll start to break that yeast down and kill the infection, the main infection. And then what we've got is the broad spectrum anti-respiratory antibiotic in the water, and that's in there, and that will just be made up in the water, and those 3 pigeons won't consume all of that in a week even, and that'll just be left in front of them for till next weekend basically. I might pop up midweek and have a quick check on the birds just to see how they're doing. But yeah, coccidiosis is a different thing altogether, and I did mention these tablets can help with that as well. I've seen a pigeon that wanted to eat but couldn't eat. Coccidiosis causes the bird to lose weight because it wants to eat but it can't eat. You'll see it playing with the food rather than actually eating it and swallowing it. And you can see it's desperate for something to eat. And if you pick the bird up, you'll feel it's starting to go light and lose muscle. It'll have runny, watery droppings, and you should have noticed that long before it gets to the stage where it's losing weight and is picking corn but not actually eating it. And I've also used these tablets to cure pigeons in the past with that. I've had pigeons that I've bought in that came in, and it was quite clear that there was something not quite right with them, and they always go into quarantine, as you know guys, they go in a shed on their own. And then you would watch them for the first couple of days, and I had a pigeon that came in that, in fairness, it looked perfectly healthy and it was fine the day I put it in the loft, but the very next day I noticed it was picking food and it was eating little bits, but it wasn't eating the way it should and with the gusto that it should. The following day after that, it had watery drop-ins, etc., and I could see it was just starting to play with the corn. So long before it actually lost all its body weight, we realised what was going on. Half a tablet down the back of the throat, 24 hours, let another day go by, another half a tablet, and that pigeon was fine after that. So they do help with coccidiosis as well, but that's the only 2 things that they do actually help with. Don't just be giving your pigeons these just for the sake of it, thinking it'll be right, it'll cure everything, because it won't, it will not. It's designed more or less for canker, but I've found that it does help with coccidiosis as well, guys. Not that I actually get it, I haven't had coccidiosis in years and years and years, and that, as I say, came in the pigeon that was bought in. Regarding canker, we have had odd cases of it, and it happens usually and predominantly in a breeding season, where the birds build up a lot of this cankerous yeasts in the back of the throat, and when they're feeding the young birds, it can become at higher levels, and you can usually see the young birds panting on the nest. It's tricky, but if you're going to lose the bird anyway, you can give them a quarter of a tablet, as long as they're well feathered up and getting ready to come off the nest anyways. and that will usually see them on until you get them weaned off, and then just keep an eye on them. Anyways, I've babbled on for long enough now, guys. I'm just going to have this cup of coffee, and this is probably all we're going to do for today. So for now, I'm going to wrap it up. If you're new to my channel, please do think about hitting the subscribe button, then hit the little bell icon on the right. That'll alert you every time I put up a new video. For now, guys, stay safe, be practical, and keep yourselves out of harm's way. And we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching, guys.